This is the 1925 Bomerland. It had a 600cc engine that had 20 horsepowers and could seat 3 people. It often came in bright colors like red and yellow and green and red. This is the 1913 James 3-speed. The James 3-speed had 600 cc's and it had one cylinder with an additional sidecar.
All right, right here we have the 1932 Indian police bike. It was a 1265cc with 4 cylinders. It had a top speed of 75 miles per hour. Some cool things about it were the police siren that it had right here. And the fire extinguisher on the back. Right there. Here's the 1923 Scott Sprint Special. It had 600cc and top speed of 85 miles per hour. It was often used in racing events, but eventually, since it was so superior to its competition, it was banned from racing events because it would always win.
This is the 1927 Ford Model T truck. The Ford Model T truck was developed by Ford Motors Companies, and it revolutionized automobiles because it created the assembly line, which made producing automobiles cheaper and faster. And the 1927 Ford Model T truck had a 22.5 horsepower engine with a top speed of 45 miles per hour and a flathead 4-cylinder. This is what every American would probably be driving if they could afford it in the 1920s. This is the 1923 Henderson Deluxe with sidecar. It had a 30 horsepower engine that had a 1300 cc's of displacement. The Henderson Deluxe only had a top speed of 75 miles per hour, and it was made in America.
Here is the 1920 Harley Davidson motorbike. One of the most sophisticated of its time. Only 8 of them are known to be built, and it was priced at $1,500 back in the 1920s, which is a very large amount of money for nowadays. And so very luxurious, probably not seen on the roads, just driving around, more of a racing motorcycle, and very luxurious, only for the wealthy.
This is the 1920 Miltor. The Miltor was made in America with a 4-cylinder engine that only produced 11 horsepower, and it had an additional sidecar that came with it. This whole thing had leaf spring suspension, and you could comfortably fit 2 people on this bike.
Right here we have an array of Indian motorcycles back from the 1920s. Back then they would have been considered the fast motorcycles, often used in racing events, but you could have seen them just in everyday life on the roads. They ranged from top speeds of 65 miles per hour to 85 miles per hour and were considered luxurious.